Hello and welcome to the Chicane Podcast, where we discuss all things in the sim racing world. I'm your host, Jason Rivera, and I'm joined here by Eric and Jeff. How are you all doing today?
Doing good.
Hey, couldn't be doing better.
Look at that. So I got my boy here, Jay Smart, aka Jeff. He just upgraded his equipment arsenal. He's running now a podcast mic to support the show. I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody appreciates the little step up in audio here, stepping up the game here, stepping up the podcast.
Definitely,
Ready to go.
We care about your ears. You know what I mean? That's the truth.
They're
So
trying
today,
to provide a quality product here.
So today we got again 3 topics for you. We have VR. We're going to cover specifically PSVR on the PS5, and we're going to hand that over to our expert on consoles, Mr. Eric Kelly. And then after that discussion, we're going to roll into steering wheel ratios and the differences and different wheel sizes as well. It's all related. And then if we have time, we'll touch on the different sim racing platforms. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Eric Kelly to discuss PSVR, specifically on PS5 and with the emphasis of GT7.
Yeah. So thank you, Jason. I have no problem discussing the best VR racing experience on the planet right now, which is GT7 on PSVR2 on the PS5. It's mind-boggling. If you got a stomach for it, if it doesn't make you sick, it is easily worth the investment. PS5 plus the headset. Rig, no rig. There are guys I know that race on controller, but just the immersion, the attention to detail is phenomenal. If you just enjoy cars, even outside of racing, they have virtual showrooms. You can do virtual replays where you actually standing on the track, watching your car go by. They have all the different angles. You can sit in the car. And then just the detail is, it just makes your brain melt out your head. The first couple of days I got it, I literally just get in the car and just look around, like drive off the track, stop, and just look around at the car, look in the seats, look in the back of the car, the detail in the steering wheel, the details in your person. I mean, it's even down to the point where, depending on the car you're driving, you can see yourself in the reflection in like surfaces on the car, like where there be like a real reflective dashboard or rearview mirror or something like that. And it's to the point now, I have some UI elements up, like I have like track times and things like that. I have tire indicators, but
they're like floating, right? They're like floating in the air.
Yeah, they put them right over the center console. So if there's like a screen or something in the car, they'll usually put it there. If there's nothing like that, like in the F1 car, they just kind of have it off up to the side, and literally I can just like look up at it, and it'll come into focus.
Like a floating window sort of type of deal.
Yep. And then on the Sim Magic wheel that I have the different buttons and rotaries that I can click through the different informational screens. So tire pressure, weather, brake balance, depending on the car, fuel, whether it's running lean or things like that. But it is, to me, it's the future, and I think it'd be a waste if PlayStation doesn't pump a lot more money into developing this. Right now they're porting a lot of other titles, but the racing is, I think, far and above the most unexpected thing. And this was free. This wasn't a special version you had to buy. There was no upgrade. You plugged in. You would never know this existed until you plug in the headset. When you plug in the headset, it even before you start racing, it's just a 2D image. But then as soon as you hop in the car, you just pop into the seat and you're transported into a different world. I mean, just looking around at the tracks, the weather. I mean, it gives you a new appreciation for these cars. Combine that with the wheel, and it's addictive.
So Eric,
it really is.
How quickly can you jump in the seat? Say you got a half hour before you need to go do something. How quickly can you jump in the seat and then be behind a wheel, spinning laps? How long does it take you to get set up and get going with the VR?
For me, it doesn't take long at all. My rig is pretty stationary. I got a dedicated rig, so it's really the same amount of time for the most part as you would with a controller. The headset has basically two main adjustments. You have the main, it's sort of like a visor type strap that goes around your head that you sit on, and then you have the actual adjustment of the lenses. And in the menu, when you plug in the headset, there's a native menu that pops up that you can do a quick adjustment. Because it does eye tracking, so it shows you like an image of the headset on your head and where your eyes are in it, so you can kind of align it perfectly to where your eyes are perfectly centered in it.
The sweet
But
spot.
that,
That's what
Dang.
they call
Okay.
yeah,
it.
like yeah, so that's like a contextual menu. So you could be in the game and like if I'm mid lap and I'm like, it's kind of weird. I can hit the PlayStation button and that menu pops up, hop into the that setting, adjust it, and then back out and I'm back racing. It's very well thought out.
Man.
Very well thought out.
Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
the. I got the MetaQuest 3, and I've tried it, once or twice before, and and to your point, it is spectacular. Head and shoulders. Like,
Yeah.
you look down, and you can see your racing harness on you and things like that.
Yeah.
But for me, for some reason, I started getting that cold, hot sweat flashes and the motion sickness. And I don't. Do you
Yeah.
think it's the, like, maybe a lower quality, and it's the shutter, the refresh rate, or that might be getting, because I've heard some people have the motion sickness issues, and then some people don't. And I just wonder if you had any thing you could maybe help me and anybody else listening with the motion sickness.
So I've been blessed to never have had motion sickness.
Must be
But
Same here.
nice.
yeah, but to your point, um, the frame rate definitely does help. So it might be the game. On console, GT7 is being kind of up-resed. Not what's the word? Basically, the frames are being boosted up to 120.
Like frame
So
gen, like frame generation.
yeah, there's some. I think it's native 90, and they boosted up to 120. If I wasn't using the headset, the game runs natively at 120. And so with the headset on, I think it's native
Without ray
90.
tracing, right?
Yeah, and they only do ray tracing in the
In the
replays. So
replays,
when
that's
you're
just right.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah, so when you're real time racing, there's no ray tracing. But in the headset, it's buttery smooth, and I think that's the biggest thing between that and the eye tracking. It's really seamless, right? Wherever your eyes are, they've balanced the workload to where it's really very optimized for the PS5. So as far as how they translate to PC, I think the frame rates might help, but I don't know how much of that is frame rate, how much of that is game optimization for VR,
So
if that makes sense.
I know Quest 3 is rated at 120 max. Most of their games hover around the 90 and some of them at 60. But if you're connecting this headset to a PC, it depends on your graphics card. It depends on what the capabilities of your machine to push the frames through there. And I know for a fact that
Yeah,
Assetto Corsa is notoriously bad in VR. The best VR experience on PC is iRacing and AMS2, which is Automobilista 2. Most people don't race in VR when it comes to ACC. I know GT7 is the king of VR and heads on consoles, most definitely.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I
Hey,
know
Jason,
Eric. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
I was
Jeff.
gonna say, I got one more question coming from a guy with triples. Is, I'm driving, especially in Formula, and I got a DRS, and I'm hitting my DRS button. Do you have any issues, or was there a learning curve when you put the goggles on and your buttons aren't where you see them with your eyes? You got to kind of feel around for them. Was there any learning curve with that, or is it pretty straightforward with button controls, whether it's your wipers, your lights, or whatever? You know what I mean? Like in the real world, where your steering
Yeah.
wheel is versus where your eyes are seeing buttons on your wheel in your headset.
That is really the biggest hurdle, right? So I'm racing on a round wheel. I have the GT S1 wheel, I think, from Sim Magic. So it's a round wheel, and I had to go into Sim Hub and map the buttons. So I kind of customized to where I wanted them to be. Because there's some emulation going on with the Sim Magic wheel on the PS5 anyway. So if I go into the settings, it's showing me a GT Pro, GT,
A DD.
what is it?
I'll look
DD
this
Pro.
up.
Yeah, it's showing me a DD Pro wheel and wheelbase. So it's simulating a DD wheelbase from Fanatec. So it's showing me the Gran Turismo wheel. So already it doesn't look one to one.
Oh, so it will show you what you plug in the system. That's pretty rad. Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah, it really depends. Mostly on the wheel you have. If you have Fanatec gear, it's natively supported. So they have some of that stuff in the settings already kind of pre-mocked up. What SimMagic is doing is they are in the latest beta firmware update, they're emulating a Fanatec DD wheel, and it's the DD Pro bundle. Before that, they were emulating a Logitech G29. So you
It
would
is a
see the
DD Pro.
G29
Looking at it now.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I just kind of had to take some time and figure out what button did what. Setting a button that I thought would corresponded with the button on the wheel and the graphic on the game, and then seeing what happened once I actually got in the game and pressed it. So to your point, right now DRS is me clicking in my left funky switch,
Okay. Yep.
which kind of took some figuring out. I just had to kind of sit there and like press the buttons to see which one was mapped to
Yeah,
it.
because you're blind. You're in a headset. You don't see buttons. All you see is a
Yeah,
virtual wheel.
yeah,
That's in the game, basically.
yeah. And the fact that I don't even have a F1 style wheel at all, it really was different. I don't have all the buttons that are on there
It is
that are
weird.
available. So yeah,
Yeah, and that's part of our next topic too when we get there. But I'm looking at this DD Pro wheel, and it's actually 280 millimeter, which is kind of small for a round wheel. It
yeah,
almost feels like a. I hate to say this, but it almost feels like a toy, because
Y-
it's small. You know what I mean? It's a small round wheel. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's almost like a go-kart wheel almost. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. That was so. If you remember when I was looking, the Fanatec bundle I was looking at was the DD Extreme, and they have a new version
Right.
of that wheel, and it's 300 millimeter, so it's a little better.
Oh,
Quality
they
is about
do.
the same though.
Ah,
Yeah, with the DD Extreme, but it was a lot of you know stuff that turned me off from it. For one, people talked about the build quality. It still kind of felt
it's
kind of
plastic.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also it came with that QR1 or QR2 light quick release,
Which I
and you
don't
still would have to buy
understand.
the
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
understand.
I mean,
yeah,
Somebody,
which was
please.
crazy.
just build the
Yeah,
price in for the good one. Like nobody runs the plastic one.
Yeah,
yeah. It was
if the
it was
wheel if
weird.
yeah, if the wheel can't take the forces, then don't market it like that. Just don't market it because
Yeah.
that's what you're
Yeah,
doing. You're telling me you're oh my god, Fanatec, I'm sorry, but you're going to get
We
it
did the
again.
yeah.
they
You're going to
earned it.
get it
They
again.
earned it, man. Yeah,
if
But
you
I think
if your products are can't take the forces, don't act like they can in a way, kind of like, oh yeah, we'll sell you the wheel. It comes with a QR2 light, but there's nothing stopping you from putting an actual QR, the QR2, the full blown, because the machine, the actual motor restricts the torque based off the QR that you have installed,
oh geez.
which I can't
yeah,
stand. I
Yeah.
can't stand that.
Yeah, Eric,
My
yeah,
if we
wheel is 25 newtons. If I put a plastic wheel on there and it breaks, it's my fault. You know what I mean?
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
If we
That's
can
that's just money grabbing, man.
if we can go back to just a quick wrap up the VR, Eric, have you done a racing with a screen like a traditional monitor? Because I know people claim that the VR is better for judging depth perception, staying tight on somebody's bumper, things like that. Have you noticed anything?
Yeah,
Whether that's accurate for you? You believe that to be true?
that is 1000% accurate. Only because with VR, you are solely in the cockpit. So as far as a cockpit view, it's the best because I can actually look to my left and my right. I can look forward. I see the actual size of the car. I see how close it is. I can see. I can see all that. It's like you're in a real car. But once you factor in the kind of third person view, like the behind the wing view that you can do if you are on a flat screen, to me, I think that would actually help you have better lap times because you can see your entire car. You can see where you get more visual information as far as where your car is on the track, where your car is in regards to other cars. Is really it's really kind of a toss up. I can see people that want to go fast saying I race in this kind of third person view, or I race in the hood view to where the entire screen is the road. So I'm really getting more of that perspective. Um, but I think it's preference. I don't know anybody who's fast who races exclusively in VR though. I say that.
So
Okay,
I'm
that's
gonna
fair.
I'm gonna add to that right there is the reason 99% of us race inside the cockpit is not so much for an immersion purposes. It's for FOV purposes, and FOV is really important because FOV we don't have you don't have depth perception in a video game. There's no way to tell how far things are. It may look a certain way, but you're not seeing things in 3D. You know what I'm trying to say? You're not seeing things in their actual shape and sizes. So
Yeah,
when you change a camera to a bonnet camera or a full screen camera, what the game is doing is compressing the image out and making it seem wider. But then speed changes. The way speed feels, it'll feel faster than what you're really traveling at. So the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I 100%. I want to add one more thing here to this. Uh, you spend all this money on a rig, a steering wheel. If you're running triples or even just a single monitor, a legit car racing seat, you do it for immersion. Put yourself in the cockpit and use the FOV. Like it's a racing simulator.
Right,
You never get in. You're never going to get in a car to drive it 4 feet behind it and 2 feet above it.
right. And that's why
That's listen. I'm the first to say you do what you like to do. From my
yeah,
perspective, I'm a true racing simulator. I like the immersion. I want to be in the cockpit, even if I'm slower. It's going to make me feel like I'm actually in a race car. But that's my
yeah.
stance.
The fun
Everybody
definitely
do what
goes
they
up.
do and enjoy it. If you're enjoying it, good for you. You keep doing it. But I spent the money to build make me feel like I'm in a race car. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
I'm off my soapbox.
they both
Mm,
have their advantages, you know. They and I do see the immersion there. I am too. I'm the same way. I like the immersion of the cockpit inside the that view and almost being able to touch the dashboard with my hands. But then you
yeah,
also have to factor, like I said, the depth perception. When you have a camera behind the car, you're not seeing what's in front, what's right in front. And when you get into really close battles racing, that edge is going to help out big time. I'm telling you,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's almost scary because you're traveling at so high speed and it's like four, five, six cars in front of you. And any little mistake that any of those cars does is you have to have enough time to see and to get away with it. I just got off a stream just now, literally 30 minutes ago, and somebody clipped me on the side. If I had a camera behind that car, I would have never saw it. I would have never saw it coming. First of all, I would have had a different perspective. So I was able to dodge one, but not the other one. The other one hit me. So yeah,
yeah,
that sucked.
I
yeah.
wish I
No
could do the
fun.
VR because I think when I was in there for the handful of times I did the
It
immersion
is
with
fun.
Eric
Yeah.
was incredible,
Yeah,
and it would take up half the space my rig takes up now. But
yeah,
until I can take some motion sickness pills every time I jump on the rig, I'll be with my triples, baby.
yeah. And that's kind of the saving grace for me right now is I can put on the headset. I can do everything PS5. I've played 2D games in the headset, like for just being able to like shut out the world, like put on headphones, noise
Right.
canceling headphones, put on the headset and play Call of Duty or play Helldivers or something with a 100-inch screen in front of me. It's Yeah,
It's kind
I
of
think it
cool,
has a ways
man.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ways to go, but I don't know. It's, that motion sickness sucks, man. I see
The
people struggling
motion,
with it.
you know what? And I'm gonna say this, just because whoever's listening to this podcast, specifically these last few episodes, we've talked about building a rig, putting money towards a rig, and VR is definitely an option that people consider because it's significantly cheaper than getting monitors. But here's
Yep.
my thing with that: you have a nice wheel with screens, buttons, lights, switches on it, and you're not seeing
Yep.
any of it. you
Yep.
you might as well get the cheapest wheel you could find, because you won't be able to appreciate it, is what I'm saying. But that's, it's my opinion, right? But it
Yeah.
I have a $1,500 wheel on my wall, and I want to see it. I want to see lights. I want to see, because these wheels have telemetry built into them. So the lights are
Yeah.
not just there for gimmick actions. They're actually doing things. It's actually notifying me on things, on conditions, um,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
we gotta,
Yeah, I think it kind
go
yeah,
ahead.
like we've been kind of saying it's there's a give and take, and Jason, I'm with you, dude. I like seeing my buttons for traction control on my DDU going off. I like to see all that stuff. I want the lovely dashboard. I want all of those
Yeah.
things.
Shout
But
out
I'm
to
not
Lovely
gonna lie,
Dashboard.
Eric. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That immersion, when I looked over and saw that Ferrari F1 car right next to me, and you could look up
Yeah.
and see on the outside of your car with those goggles on. Man, I wish I didn't get sick. It's incredible. I'm not gonna lie. It's
Right.
Yeah.
badass.
It
Yeah. I
is.
But
It
think
is.
it's an
it's
aspect
all
of it, you know.
what you're all looking for. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's an aspect that is. I mean, for me, I wish they would come out with just like some casual driving games. Right. There's this taxi game that came out recently, and literally you just go to different locations, and they kind of put an emphasis on going to exotic locations, different beautiful cities and driving people around those cities. And the city's supposed to be like photorealistic. You can upgrade your taxi to, something that's more luxurious, upgrade some specs. But I'm like, I would love to just hop in something like that and cruise around and just just enjoy a car, just cruise around.
that's where you
Which
got
I
to get
think on
those.
PC, yeah,
Yeah, that's where you got to get those mods on that Assetto Corsa and be
Oh man,
cruising the Japanese
Jeff, we
highways.
we are attacking Eric
yeah,
daily. He
yeah,
is being
I,
attacked, harassed, like in a good
yeah,
way. Everybody, in a
In a
nice
good
way.
way,
oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm taking them
We're
on the
telling
chin, man,
him, hey
because
man,
because
well, you might
yeah.
wanna, consider
It
the
it's
option.
coming. It's coming.
So okay, so that was very in depth. I really appreciate that, Eric. Your take on the VR
Yeah.
stuff. It is great. I'm not gonna lie. It's just, it's to each their own. You have to decide that for yourself. No one. There's not a VR. Excuse me. Motion sickness is not something that you can foresee. You just have to
Yeah.
try it for yourself and find out. You're not gonna
Yeah.
know.
Definitely.
So make sure you buy it from a reputable seller that will accept returns. That's the best advice
Yeah.
I can give you on the VR stuff. Um, on the PlayStation side, things are kind of looking up because they're actually making it compatible with PCs now. So that's a kind of a nice little future upgrade, if you may. So if Eric decides to buy a PC tomorrow, which I hope
Yep.
makes that choice, I will be
Yeah.
glad to help you, bro, on your way to get there.
Yeah. That's
then
like PC
hopefully you
parts
can.
picker is coming.
Oh, PC part picker. Okay, I
Yeah.
see. All
Yeah. We
right.
building it out. I got a vision for it. That's why I didn't just grab
I
something
bet you anything
last
he has a
week.
build saved right now. It's in his
Eh,
is in his
I mean,
inbox.
I got a PC already, and I got a build saved too.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Listen,
I bet you do
you,
too.
you move your mouse right, and then you put your left hand over your mouse, and you just. It was an accident. It hit
See?
by. I'm sorry.
See? What I tell you though? The wallet demolisher,
Yeah,
aka
man.
Jason
Jason
Rivera.
Rivera.
That's it, man. And when the mail
Tell
comes
you,
in,
man.
because that transaction is going to come through, you know,
Oh yeah.
there's, just call
Yeah,
up the
man.
bank
We
and tell
gon'
them, hey, can you just hide this, please?
Oh no, we ain't worried about that.
All right. So I'm going to go into the next topic. Um, I like this, I like it when we take time on a particular topic because it we're trying to provide you the option as the listener, and make sure that you fully understand what you're getting yourselves into when you make that choice, okay? Because VR headsets are not cheap. I think the price of a
Yeah.
PSVR is 399. Correct me if I'm wrong.
550.
550. And to
You
give you
need the
some context,
PS5.
I paid $700 times 3. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that is a significant cheaper option. So,
Yeah. You got options
well,
for sure.
you definitely do. I mean, you can get
Yeah.
cheaper monitors. You can, but again, something that's going to be future proof, something to consider. Okay, um, and to each their own with their budgets. No judging here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go over steering wheel ratios because we did touch it a little bit. And it is
Hmm.
important because on the market, you will find all kinds of different shapes and sizes, right? So you have your round wheels, you have your GT wheels, you have your F1 wheels, you have your rally style wheels, which is still round, but they usually come in 320 to 350 millimeter, which is a big, giant round wheel. And
Yeah.
then your standard size for a round wheel, you want to stay at 300, right? So 300, Sim Magic makes them,
Yeah.
Semicube makes them, all kinds of different manufacturers make them. So you got to consider this because the first thing you want to consider is what kind of car are you driving? What kind of car do you like? First of all, drive what you like. Don't drive what's meta. Drive what you like. If you like a Lamborghini and it's not meta right now, drive the Lamborghini because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure if you love the car, you love the feel, and you can handle it, you will fly by people trying to use the meta car that don't know what they're doing. So with that said, we're going to use that as an example. The Huracan GT3, well, all three of them, the Evo 2, they use a steering ratio of 620. Ferraris using a steering ratio of 480. And Audi, what else? Audi and McLaren, they use a steering ratio of 720. So 720, all those, what do those numbers actually mean? So that is the degree, the actual max degree of the wheel and its turn radius, right? So an F1 car is going to be 360, so it's a full circle. And then you have 480, which is a little, it's like a circle and a half, if you may. I don't want to go into specifics. But the thing to take note of is make sure you have the correct wheel for the car that you're driving. You want to avoid using a round wheel on a GT style wheel because it's just going to feel like the inputs are too much. You're going to be doing way more inputs. And then when you have to react to something, you're going to be slow. Now, on the flip edge, if you get a formula wheel, which is usually 270, 280, and in some cases 300, then on a formula car your actions is in reverse. You need to be quicker. On a GT car, you need to be smoother. And on a formula car, you're banging through gears and you're slamming the car in the corners, and trust me, the car can take it. The thing is, what kind of tool are you using to get those turns? What kind of tool are you using to get you through on the track? So that's just something to consider, you know what I mean, on sizes and different wheel ratios.
So,
So
Jason, if you had to pick, if you're out there setting up your rig and you like doing all the things, you like driving F1, you do like doing rally, you like doing GT3, all of the things. What size wheel would you recommend to the person getting in? Doesn't know if they like F1, doesn't know if they like GT3, but they want to try it all. What size would you recommend to the average person getting in?
right, that is a great question. So, and that was a decision that I had to make for myself in the past. So I was trying to figure out, okay, so do I go with 300? Do I go with a formula? Do I go with a hybrid? So the best recommendation I'd have for you is to figure out figure out what you like the most. Like you yourself, for example, Jeff, you like F1. You got into the hobby because of F1. So I would tell you as a brand new sim racer is to go and get yourself an F1 wheel, but don't get a very small tiny wheel that's only meant for F1. Try to find a medium. So what I did, I'm just going to give you guys my personal experience, I went with the Cube Controls CSX3 that's right behind me. And that wheel is a 282 millimeter. So it's kind of in the middle. It can be used for F1. Actually, it's predominantly F1 because it is a formula wheel. But it also can be used, it's versatile enough to use in a GT setting. The only problem I had was that it felt twitchy. I felt like it was way too twitchy. It's
And
fine to take a
that's because it's narrow with the 280.
exactly
Right.
because
So
of the
every little movement your hands are doing, that
right.
the tires, the wheels are
And
moving.
with
Yeah.
that said, you know what I'm saying? And with that said, if I was using a wheel that's that short, I don't want to use, I don't want to drive a Ferrari with that because a Ferrari is only a 480 steering ratio. So it's way too short. And now I'm basically I'm barely turning the wheel and the car's just getting slammed over. I know that you can fine tune stuff in the settings on the car settings, but I would tell you to avoid that because you want when you set up a car and when you get into setups and we're talking competitive, GT racing, now it just changes everything because everything kind of works together. You change the steering ratio on the car and the actual software side of the car, that affects your dampers, your suspension, your travel. It's a headache. You know
Yeah.
what
I'm
I
glad
mean?
you brought that up because I'm sure there was going to be a bunch of people that says, I can change all that stuff in my
And
Fanatec
the
software,
hardware,
SimMagic software.
right?
Yeah. Change all that stuff. So I'm glad you brought that
Yeah.
up. But I want
So,
everybody, Jason,
question.
say the name of your wheel one more time. And if you don't know what it is, go out there and Google it. This is the sexiest wheel on the
Oh,
market,
Oh yeah.
hands down.
it is the Cube Control CSX3, and it's a Formula style wheel. It has a 4-inch display, and it's not cheap. I know. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah. So in that same vein, Jason, would you recommend a wheel like the GT Neo for somebody that's kind of between F1 and GT3
Yes,
kind of
100%.
cars? Okay.
100% because the GT Neo, first of all, the price. You
I'm
just
glad you
can't
said
beat
that
it.
as it's
Yeah.
sitting here waiting for me to spin some laps on it, brand new.
Right.
Oh
Look,
man.
he just picked up. And
Yeah.
what did you start with, Jeff? You started with a round wheel
Yep.
because we
That,
all
that and the
start.
Fanatec. That and then the McLaren
You
from
did go
Fanatec. Yeah.
McLaren route. You did go McLaren route. I'm sorry, but me, Eric, and I, excuse me, we both started with round wheels because it's only natural because it's the wheel that we drive with every day in our personal vehicles. So we're
Yeah.
thinking, well, this is a steering wheel, the way we know it. You rent the car, it's a round wheel. It's not no half wheel. But then when you start getting into the hobby a little deeper, I'm pretty sure Eric is itching. It's in someone's cart right now. Eric,
Yeah.
let's talk,
So
man. Come on.
the main reason I went with the round wheel first versus the GT Neo, it was tempting. It really was. But with GT7, I'm not always in a Formula car or a GT3 car. I could be in a Toyota Yaris. They had a daily race where you're doing time trials in Toyota Yaris's. I could
That's a
be in a
That's
fast
Mini
car,
awesome.
Cooper.
man.
I could be in, I can
I'm
be in some
kidding.
everything. I was in
banging
like a
gears in that thing.
1980. Yeah, banging the invisible gears. But yeah, I was in
Man,
like a
bro.
1980
So you driving a
Jaguar
Jairus.
XF.
That's
You
oh
know,
man.
that's
Jeff.
yeah,
I mean Eric.
It gives flexibility, right? It gives
A
flexibility.
yeah.
Jairus?
So
That's like a Prius, bro. Only gas. Come
yeah,
on,
it
man.
really is. It was rough. That was the slowest race.
But wait a minute. Let me correct myself. There is a Jairus. Um, is it a
GR.
Jairus? The GR. That is a
Yeah.
different animal. Okay.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
thing demands
So,
respect. That thing is loud. That's that Toyota, that WRC car is disgusting. You don't want to
yeah.
mess with that car.
Yeah. And then the rally racing too, they have in there as well. So, just knowing that I
That's a
would
good point.
need something for, a variety of cars playing, more of a simcade where I don't know what I'm racing this week. Whatever the daily is, this week it's a F1 car and they had a Skyline as well.
Hmm.
So some more kind of road cars in there. I feel like I start there, but I knew the GT Neo was coming. That's coming.
I got a good one for everyone, and this is how we're gonna close this topic. Take the top 2 sims that you play. Take the top 2. Like Eric likes rally, and he likes GT7, and the cars he's driving are regular. Most of them are regular cars. That right there screams round wheel. So for me and Jeff, I'm speaking for Jeff. I'll let you touch on that, Jeff. But for me personally, I'm an F1/GT, so I do not need a round wheel. For me is a secondary wheel. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, same. I mean, I have one. Really, for the odd chance that I get in WRC, or I'm in like the Porsche GT3 in an ACC modded server, something like
Or
that.
the
But
old Formula cars, Jeff? Because the
yeah,
old Formula cars are round wheels.
yeah, don't sleep on those things. Those things with a little with a sequential shifter are a ton of fun. But yeah,
Right.
to your point, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get in the Neo and use the Neo. I'm beyond excited, but I'll probably end up having to look for a circle wheel, to be honest with you too, just for the odd chance. You know, not a super expensive one, just one that I can get in there and have some fun with when I'm not doing something that I'm truly passionate about. That just want to get in there and do something different.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, especially with those modded servers, man, y'all can hop on in the Assetto Corsa. I'm jealous.
You'll get there, man. And we'll guide you there. We're
I don't
definitely
doubt it.
we're gonna walk you through this path. Don't you worry, man. It's
Hopefully, we'll
gonna be
drag a
nice.
bunch of listeners along the way.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, man. But and definitely now with the VR, you kind of, you know, you kind of have an option there now because you can take that same VR headset over to the PC side. Hopefully, everything should work and be compatible. And I am praying, please hear me. GT7 on the PC, please, please.
That
Sony,
that would be that would be
game
mind
changing.
boggling.
Yeah.
Would be mind
And
boggling.
imagine they mod this game and start introducing the physics side.
Ooh,
Yes.
yeah,
Good night, Assetto Corsa, good night, all of them. Because that engine
Mhm.
and those graphics, it is stunning.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the bar across the games this coming up this summer is going to be off the charts. We got F1 24 coming out, and then don't sleep on the new Assetto Corsa Evo.
Right, Assetto Corsa Evo is coming out. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going
I
to
saw
be.
that. Yeah.
I'd
And
love to see
Rensport.
GT3. Yeah, yeah.
Rensport's another simulator. LMU, which is Le Mans Ultimate, it came out, but it's an early release. But they're updating, they're updating this game weekly, and it's getting there. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. It's a good, contender. But it's just they're PC only games. That's the only thing.
Yeah. We'll get into that
Yeah.
another episode. There is some of
Yes,
the best
we
racing
will.
sim platforms. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely.
we will. And it's about that time to wrap this up, guys. Let's do a round table here, and I'll start with Eric Kelly. Eric, do you have anything else for us today?
Nothing else, man. I got to come up with me a cool salutation like Jeff has. I'll have it next time.
Oh, the slogan.
Yeah, I'll
The
get to it. I'm
slogan.
going to jump to it here. Mine is I can't wait for. I got some gear here that hopefully next time we're chatting, I got everybody an update on my Sim Magic gear that's going to be thrown in, and yeah, since everybody's waiting for it, drive fast and brake late.
I can't wait to hear because Jeff is waiting on a bracket, and that must be the hardest thing because he doesn't have a bracket right now. So I can't wait to hear the difference, and I can see it now. He's gonna call me. It's gonna be like 3:00 in the morning. He's gonna tell me to get up. And I'm gonna have to get up.
Oh, let's go.
Well, I don't have a slogan, guys. My slogan is this: everyone be safe. Thank you so much, both of you, for co-hosting on the show. And to all our listeners out there, I hope you have a great day and a great start of your week. Thank you.